What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome back to another edition of MVP Sports Live right here on twitch.tv/MVP-vids, or you might be watching on YouTube, MVP Sports. I'm joined, as I always am, by my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And Dave, one weekend down, 16 more to go? They didn't add the extra week yet for this season. I'm trying to think in my head, did they add the extra week for this season? No, it's just the extra playoff team. But week one of the NFL is in the books, and we had NFL Friday, Dave. Today's all about NFL Monday, as we're going to recap all the NFL games that went down, and also do a little bit of fantasy. Wet Boys will be here too. I'll ask you, did you win your fantasy leagues? Did you do well in fantasy this week?
I split. You know, one's got to wrap up. The MVP league has to wrap up tonight, obviously. But I'm in great position to win that one. I'm up a couple. I got two guys to go. He's got a tight end, so pretty sure that one's locked up. The small group we do, I didn't check on Saturday or Sunday morning. Couldn't be bothered. Could not be bothered. Could not give a shit about it. So
mistakes.
Yeah, for a league I've been in for a decade, real rookie mistake to just blatantly not care. Oh, wait, no, that's me. I mean, that sounds exactly like me.
It's only the injured reserve to start Miles Sanders, who's on injured. Is he on IR? Or they just held him out. He's not on the IR yet.
He's not official. Actually, he might be on IR. Okay. I think I don't know, because it's a 3-week IR this year instead, so I don't know. Either way, I was too lazy, didn't check. And apparently I found out sometime about Sunday at like 3 o'clock that he wasn't actually playing football. I was like,
and you're like, oh shit, that game has already started. But we got a jam-packed show. I've also fantasy. I'm probably going to split my leagues, because the one league I've joined a third one before the MVP one. I already don't care about it, because it's like, it was one of those leagues where Brandon was like, hey, do you want to do a league together? Because the league we're in, we're not doing one. But then he joined the MVP league. So like, I instantly was like, I don't care about this third league anymore. And it looks like I'm going to split, because my team in the MVP league isn't as good as I thought they were. But we got a jam-packed show, like I said. Before we get into everything, quick housekeeping. Number one, join the Discord, link down below, or !Discord in Twitch chat. Great conversations going on every single day, whether it's NFL, NBA, sports, entertainment, TV, gaming, anything is going on in the Discord. Join that right now. Also, help support the channel, patreon.com/MVPvids. That is where you can A, help support us, and then B, interact with the show, like voting for your own Wet Boy each and every Friday. You can get things early. You can get into the watch-alongs for our voice channels in the Discord. It's a great time. Go ahead, support us, patreon.com. And then also, like I already mentioned, we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids, but we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. So please go and like and follow us at both places. So, Dave, before we get into, this is something where I was kind of in my head thinking before the show. I'm like, okay, if you're coming into this, and especially if you're on YouTube, and you're like, I came into this for the week one overreactions, down below is a timestamp, because what I still wanted to do, and what I want to start the show off with, is a little bit of fantasy football. Kind of not like a deep dive like we did on Friday, just kind of a general, like, we're sitting here on Monday. Of course, we've got 2 more games to go tonight, but there were guys that popped off on Sunday. There might be guys that we're looking to pick up, like, oh shit, maybe I do need a quarterback. Maybe Gardner Minshew might be a guy that I want to pick up. Or there were some people that were like, you know what, they're a bum, I'm going to drop them right away. Or he got injured, like Marlon Mack. If you're not in a keeper league, probably going to drop Marlon Mack because he's out for the entire year. Dave, was there anyone from fantasy football, because I know I've got a few, that you were like, I'm surprised they popped off like they did, or didn't pop off like they did not?
I'll be honest, work started messaging me, and I totally heard like maybe like the last 4 words you said. Popped off or didn't pop off, I take it.
Yeah, who did you like from fantasy this week? Who didn't you like?
I mean,
basically the summarized version.
Devontae Adams has basically just been an absolute monster for the past 5 weeks that he's played football. And I don't think that there's anything that's going to stop him because Aaron Rodgers is terrifying this year, purely out of spite for the organization of the Packers. Like, he is in a place where he hates them, and he's just going to play out of his mind for the rest of this year and prove a point. We'll see. I think that one's going to be fun. So I love Devontae Adams. I think that Lazard is an interesting pickup as a secondary kind of guy on that team. I think you'll get good value out of him. Mitch Trubisky, what the shit? Fantasy people are like, is Mitch Trubisky No.
No.
Bad.
No, he's not.
One game, 1/4 of one game does not make a pickup worthwhile. So yeah, I mean, like, there were a lot of guys who had fantastic days. Honestly, I think the biggest surprise of the weekend, we already talked about him on Friday, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, was how is this guy going to fit with his new offense? And he's a monster. He's an absolute monster.
Yeah, I know for me, Aaron Rodgers was one I was looking at because in our little small league of like guys like Mark, myself, you, and guys that we're friends with in personal life, it's one of those where I probably should have started Aaron Rodgers week 1. It's not going to kill me because like Deshaun Watson still got 20 points, but like after fucking looking at what Aaron Rodgers did, I was like, fuck, I got to start him each and every week. I was also surprised to see, I was just surprised but not surprised to see how well Cam Newton did, because I've been on the Cam Newton train.
2 touchdowns. I guess 1 rushing, 1 passing. Turns out he had to carry them both in. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that man is the entire offense up there. I feel for him. Yeah, like I was on the Cam MVP train. Then I backed off a little bit because I'm like, that's probably an overreaction. He's not going to win MVP. No, he's not going to win MVP. That's going to Aaron Rodgers this year. That's what he proved. But there were some guys that, like, for example, Kyler Murray, 26 points this week in fantasy weeks. Josh Jacobs showing that, hey, you know what, I'm going to pick up right where I left off last year from my rookie campaign. And then the kind of the little guys, like I mentioned, Gardner Minshew, he only had 18 points in some leagues. Teddy Bridgewater with 18. Before we move into the meat and potatoes, because this is the Monday show, because this is kind of like a, hey, you know what, waiver wire is going to come down on Tuesday. I know that we've got 4 teams that have not played, but in your mind, is there anyone that's still available that you're like, you know what, they had a good week, go ahead and pick them up, or hey, this person didn't have a good week, go ahead and drop them? Is there anyone that you're kind of thinking about in your little waiver wire of what you might be doing this week? Well, I know it might not be available for everybody out there, but you got to say that, you know, James Robinson, the now starting running back for Jacksonville, potentially is available. Go ahead and grab him. He might be a decent running back. Honestly, Jacksonville surprised a lot in that game, so who knows if that's for real or not, but at least he can move the ball. He looked decent with it in his hands. Darrell Williams, that other D. Williams, who happens to actually be playing this year for Kansas City Chiefs, looks like he'll still get plenty of touches, be effective in that offense. And maybe, I don't know, maybe people who are a little overhyped about, like, I don't want to admit it, Leonard Fournette. It might take a couple weeks if you want to move away from him. I think that's fine. He's not going to be a key part of that offense anytime soon. Maybe later in the year if you got a lot of roster room or you're in a thin league and you're afraid to drop him. But I think that he's likely not going to play a key feature role. Rojo looked really good out there. So he'll probably split time at best, you know, and minimal carries through the first couple weeks. Yeah, and on my side of things, I'm going more quarterback wide receiver with my mindset, to where there were 2 guys, and this is mainly to where I'm thinking keeper league status, because obviously you're not going to drop these guys, but I feel like this year, if you've got Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield, depending on how deep your league is, if like that's your main guy, or that's one of the guys that's like, hey, for the bye week, he's the one that I got to lean on. This year, you might want to lean on someone else.
So, like, obviously, like, Baker Mayfield is one where I'm like, I almost feel like if you are questioning Baker and he's not your main quarterback, go ahead and drop him this year.
Great
because,
call.
like, I didn't like what I saw in game one. I know we're going to talk about the game in depth, but, like, it's just one of those where at least Sam Darnold has some potential because once they move on from Adam Gase eventually, Sam Darnold should do better. But, like, Baker's one where I'm like, if Baker's your main quarterback, you got to look somewhere else. And then wide receiver wise, Robbie Anderson is one. Carolina.
Somebody had to catch the fucking ball over there.
It looked like, I know it's only week one, but maybe he's going to be Teddy's guy. Like,
no,
he had
I agree.
six catches?
Best receiver in New York last year, and he moves on, and he's instantly picked up usable for the Carolina Panthers. Jamison Crowder benefited too. I mean, that Jets team is a dumpster fire, but Jamison Crowder, as the only viable wide receiver, might have value for you.
And just the other two, I was thinking, very boomer bust this week. Yet again, wide receiver position. Valdez-Scantling and Alan Lazar, both Green Bay receivers. And the reason why I say boomer bust there is if Aaron Rodgers is going to be throwing up touchdowns, these guys are going to at least get a touchdown a game maybe. But there's a chance, like you look at Lazar, he only had 4 catches, but he had a touchdown. And that's why I'm looking at our league, Dave. He scored 13. Valdez-Scantling had 15, to where it's like they might not be in that 20-plus range. But if A-Rod can get them in, get them a touchdown, these are guys that could be valued wide receivers, especially if you've got someone like Mevins who's on the mend and only had 1 catch, I want to say. One or 2 catches in that first game, which I said don't start him, and then what did dumb Ricky do? Go against my own advice and started him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Oh God, who is Laviska Shenault? Like, just a shout out to myself on that one. Got it. He got a touchdown. Yeah. He looks like he's going to be a good player. He was able to I think he rushed a couple times as well. All around, like, interesting guy to keep an eye on Jacksonville. Not necessarily the highest hitting guy on the free agent wire this week, but someone to keep an eye on. And then I think if you're in PPR, Scotty Miller in Tampa Bay. Look, slot receiver, Tom Brady. Enough said. Like, when in doubt, that is his comfort zone. He proved it. He had 6 targets, 5 catches, 73 yards. Expect to see him getting constantly fed that football. So feel good about that. If you're looking for someone who is a safe floor, he's the guy to go after.
The other name I'll throw out too, kind of right here at the end, is Hines from Indianapolis. Only because, like, yes, Taylor is now going to be the main back, and Taylor is owned in, especially ESPN-wise, he's owned in 95.5% of leagues. That even went up 0.2%. But you got to think Hines is going to get some touches. And I know that the big thing for his week one was he had that 1 touchdown, about 28 yards, but he had that 1 touchdown. He is somebody that, hey, even if you've got Jonathan Taylor, think about taking Hines and kind of handcuffing, only because Hines could be a vulture out there.
Hines looks good.
He could get some.
Yeah, he looked good out there. I have to ask, with the way we saw the Bears game on last week, do we feel confident in Anthony Miller being a guy we can count on for some scores going forward? Or do we just still stay clear because they don't have a quarterback for 80% of a football game?
I'd pick him up. And the only reason I'd pick him up is we're going to get into it when we get into the NFL games. Mitch is not the guy. If Mitch plays well, Anthony will play well. But still, once Nick Foles is starting, Anthony Miller's stock will go up. So I would go ahead and he's one that I pick up, stash on the bench, because I think that this game was a very much a what you saw in the first half is the realness. What you saw in the fourth quarter was not so real, but we'll get into that when we get into the games. But Dave, before we get into those NFL games, let's go ahead and do a segment a little bit earlier than usual that we like to do each and every Monday through Friday. These are our dampest of dudes, our soggiest of shooters, moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our Wet Boys players of the day from the day before, and in this case, the weekend before. So usually Dave gives a Wet Boy, I get a Wet Boy, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids at the silver tier and above, they get to vote on their own Wet Boy each and every Monday through Friday. You can join that too at patreon.com/MVPvids. But Dave, we'll let you start. Who's your Wet Boy for September 14th, 2020?
I mean, it 110% is going to the NBA because apparently our show has no NBA news on it for the day. Apparently the NBA doesn't exist anymore to Ricky because he's like, football happened, people. We need to talk only football. So I'm just trying to balance out a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that the NBA gets some shout outs. We had some amazing series. We did a watch along on Friday night. We watched the Celtics clinch over the Raptors in an amazing game. They'll be playing, I believe, tomorrow, or tonight, actually. Is it tomorrow? Tonight. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. But Jokic, I mean, come on. 3-1. They came back from 3-1. He played great in Game 6. He played great in Game 7. Nothing but phenomenal. I just, everything about him. Oh, is that only his Game 7 stats?
Those are both of the games. Those are the both from this week.
Yeah, so he had a fantastic Game 6, fantastic Game 7. He's a monster. Everything that we want him to be, he is. Sean is incredibly proud right now, I bet, with his Nuggets gear on. But like he's legit, and he could be breaking like the biggest thing in the NBA in years, like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and the 2 sixth men of the year, because the NBA fucking writers are absolutely horseshit at fan votes. But whatever. Just getting dumpstered. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Like he's gonna be great in Game 7. That's it. I need Game 6 to go the exact same way. Again, he won Game 5. He won Game 6. He will win Game 7, ?
Do you think that the Nuggets get it done? Is Retro going to be a sad Clippers fan?
Dude, I want it to happen purely for an entertainment standpoint, because think about this. If the Nuggets knock out the Clippers in the second round of the playoffs, Paul George is on a 1-year deal. Kawhi Leonard's on a 1-year deal. This is a team with no future picks for like the next 5 years. I mean, what are they supposed to do?
By 1-year deal, you mean like next year is their contract year?
They can opt out after next year.
Yeah, after next year. Okay.
Yeah, 1-year deals.
Yeah, that's what I was just clarifying for someone who might have thought that meant this year was the free agency.
No. I'm sorry. You're an idiot and hiding under a rock if you thought that they were both off contract at the end of this year. Because then we would have been talking about for, I don't know, the last fucking year. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us here in MVP Talk Sports. So shout out to Jokic. He's been great. The drama would be insane if the Clippers can complete the comeback. So I'm rooting for it. I'm a fan of drama. I'm a fan of sports being entertainment. So bring it on, Nuggets.
4 bounces. That's all I'm going to say. Happened once, can happen again. Kawhi going to bring it home. No way Clippers lose unless it's to LeBron and BOIZ. But for Dave, for mine, actually the Wet Boys this week, 3 different sports. I don't know how many times we've had that since we started the Wet Boys on MVP Sports Live, but you guys know where I got to go with my Wet Boy. I originally was like, I'm going to give it to Minshew Mania for proving us wrong. But
19-20.
3 tutties in that game, beat Phillip Rivers. Maybe Phillip Rivers isn't the savior for the Colts. But no, I got to go Alec Mills. Just throwing a no-hitter for the Cubs in Milwaukee. 9 innings pitched. Obviously, it's a no-hitter. Had no hits. Only struck out 5, but hey, sometimes you don't have to strike out a lot. And the only 2 no-hitters, Dave, this season. 2 interesting facts. One I know is true. The other one I saw on Twitter, so it has to be true. You guys can fact check me at home. Number 1 is the only 2 no-hitters this year, both by Chicago players. Lucas Giolito and now Alec Mills. So the Cubs and the White Sox own the only 2 no-hitters this year.
Best teams baseball.
Also, the only 2 no-hitters to happen at Miller Park, Cubs, Carlos Zambrano and now Alec Mills.
Nice.
And I saw that, and I saw the picture of Carlos Zambrano. I was like, holy shit, I remember that day. It was late. I want to say it was late in the season. It was like in August, September game that we had in Milwaukee. I think it was at the end of the season, not early season. But I remember that because I loved Big Z in Chicago, especially when he was trashing those Gatorade containers, Dave. But the patrons went a different way, Dave. They're going football, and they're going to a guy that deserves a wet boy. He deserves our first Monday NFL wet boy. Dave's doing it. It's the belt. It's A-Raj, baby. 4 touchdowns, no INTs, almost 400 yards.
Need an updated photo, and we got rid of all that shit.
Did he? ESPN still has all the, like, there are so many different versions. One with just a mustache.
He's
one
mustache
from later
only right
on.
now.
Like,
He's mustache only.
ESPN has him with the full beard. So maybe I'll have to get the one of just the mustache, because I almost was like, fuck it. I'm going with the rookie one where he's clean shaven all around.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah, no.
Clean shaven Aaron Rodgers. But
nah. As the guy who unfortunately had to watch that, how bad was it watching Rodgers just dumpster you?
I mean, it was one of those things where watching the game, I was like, my Viking fan in me wanted to think we were going to win, but I obviously was like, there's a good chance we lose this game because of Aaron Rodgers. And I think that, like, I was coming in thinking that the Packers were going to win the division anyways. But this just proved that our defense still needs work. And if the Vikings, that's what I mean by we, because for people who are new, I'm a Vikings fan. That's why Dave's asking me. It's just one of those things. I saw another Vikings fan, his name's Anthony, who I follow, tweet this, where he's like, this was a typical Mike Zimmer game of, it kind of infuriates you to where it's like, well, we're losing in the fourth quarter. We're probably going to lose because this team don't come back. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's Kirk Cousins. Maybe it's both of them. But to me, it definitely proved that this defense, the losses that we have are significant.
I mean, they did give you just a bunch of garbage time points to end the game.
Yeah.
You guys did put up 24 in the fourth because they stopped caring about defense.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't even mention, like, the closeness of the game. To me, it was over. Like,
yeah, it was
over. We were not coming back to win it. And yeah, if this Vikings team wants to compete, wants to make the playoffs, the defense is going to play better. But obviously, Aaron Rodgers did have himself a hell of a game. And that'll bring us over, Dave, into week 1 overreactions. Kind of how I tried to come up with a cool name for this. At first, I was thinking, like, in my mind, like, oh, pretenders and I was like, ooh, but we're not talking about contenders. These are basically statements that some of them are going to be more out there than others. It kind of goes back to kind of a fast break throwback, a Sean Anderson throwback. Kind of like when we used to do Folkley versus Oakley. Are these takes for real? Are they not for real? What are they? And we're just going to go through every game. Obviously, we're going to talk about the game themselves, but some of the takes are going to be kind of skewed towards one team. And Dave, we're going to start with your team, the Bears. Bears-Lions. Bears get the win. I'll be completely honest. This was a game early on that I watched most of it, but then before the fourth quarter, I'm like, I'm going to start rearranging my room and stopped watching that game. And when my dad asked me at like 7 o'clock, oh, did the Bears win? I went, oh, no, they fucking lost. They lost to the Lions. And then I looked and I'm like, huh, they came back.
They did not. They did not, yeah. I watched the whole game with my parents. It was a long game. Trust me, long game mentally.
Here's the overreaction, Dave. And yes, no, Oakley, Folkley. Mitch Trubisky proved he's the guy for the Bears.
Horseshit. I choose to use none of your words because none of them accurately describe how I feel about that answer. The accurate response to he's proved he's the guy is horseshit because this is the same Mitch Trubisky we've seen for the last 3 years. Just when you want to take away the man's job, he decides he's going to play football for you. What the fuck is up with this? Like, as a Bears fan, I can't tell you how unhappy I was with him as our quarterback for literally 40 plus minutes of that game. It was infuriating to watch him just suck on every single throw, stare guys down from a hike, like get ball, stare at receiver, eyes don't move, doesn't read anywhere else in the field. He's just hard locked. And it's like, holy shit, bad at football. Then he does something. He does something else. Just fourth quarter of the game. We joked about this on Friday. It was like the scripted plays he'll be great on. No, he fucking wasn't.
No.
Like, he was dumpster worthy. And our run game saved our lives. And I'm surprised Nagy actually was like, yeah, we're getting like 6 yards to carry, 5 yards to carry.
Actually went to the run game.
Maybe we should use this crazy thing called a run game every once in a while to bail us out. So no, he's not the guy. He's not proved he's anything. He's the same quarterback we've seen for the last couple of years. It's just he had a really great fourth quarter. Credit to him, and the line's folded.
Well, it's kind of like I had kind of two analogies in my head. One of them was my original. The other one was my like Cowherdian kind of reference.
So how is this like a divorce?
Well, that's the cowherd part of it, where the first reaction I had was this game for Mitch is kind of like when you were in college and you did no work for like 75-80% of that year or that semester. And then comes like crunch time right before the final, right? And you're like, "Oh shit, I need to get like a C to pass this class."
Yep.
That's what Mitch did. Mitch did enough in the fourth to get a C for the day. Like,
with the background thought of the fact that they lost one of their top players on defense because he decided he would demonstrate to the referee how Dave Montgomery was leading with his helmet.
He was like, he just booped him with his helmet. I saw that. That stupidest, like, I saw that and I was like, NFL refs, you babies. You babies out there. Like, yeah, I get the, like, you can't touch the ref, but he wasn't even doing anything, though.
No, like, I've seen more from bigger name guys and they don't get tossed, so I'm gonna hold my breath on that one. And then the other thing is the fact that they literally lost, I think, 3 corners due to injuries during that game. So he was playing against maybe like corners 4 through 7 at that point, which does help you make plays better.
It's like when the teacher goes, "So most you are failing, I'm gonna curve the final."
Yeah, that's when you're like, "I should get a C." It's like, well, you failed hard, but you know what? Everybody did, so we're just gonna.
Or the Cowherdian part is like, you're in a relationship. She's like, you're getting to the point where everyone can see the writing on the wall where she's going to leave you. And then you start to try like, well, maybe I can save things if I start trying right now. Like, this is Oakley, like, this is the fake version, whatever you want to call it, overreaction.
It's incredibly fake, yeah.
Mitch is not the guy. Mitch, I am still like, it might be a little different. He might have saved his job for another week. Yep. But like,
by halftime, I thought we were going to see Foles by week 2. And third quarter, I was still like, Foles has a decent chance still to make an appearance week 2. And then I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Like,
Mitch is starting week 2.
This still plays into what I said. Like, you were expected to win this game. You won.
No, we weren't.
Doesn't matter. Like, no. I'm saying like I'm saying for me, Dave. Like how I was saying, where
everyone predicted the Lions. They were the favorites in Vegas. They were the favorites on the books.
Yeah, I was saying that there's the chance that Mitch could win this one, should win this one, should win against the Giants. This is just it doesn't matter how you won this game. In my mindset, he is still getting benched after week 3. When you get dismantled by the Atlanta Falcons, not you as a team. The Falcons, fuck it, we'll get into them next. Seahawks and Falcons. Before I give the hot take, because this one's not even the real big overreaction, this was a game where it's like, okay, Todd Gurley did well. From a fantasy perspective, I was happy with Todd Gurley. It's just with the Falcons, I was sitting there going, all right, maybe I pumped this team too high.
You think?
Maybe I hit the gas when I should have just slightly went on the gas. But at the same time, I'm looking at it, and I look at the Seahawks, and I go, was this really the Falcons not being good enough? Or was this just Russell Wilson and the Seahawks showing, no, we are going to be a good team this year? For you, Dave, was this more of a Seahawk win or a Falcon loss?
Oh, Seahawk win. I've been telling you the Seahawks are the best team in the NFC for, I don't know, the past month. I've been telling you Russell Wilson's the guy, and you got to believe the fact that they continue to add talent around him. They went out and made moves in the offseason, picked up a steal of a safety out there on that market. Thank you, Jets, for just sucking all the dick. I mean, the Seahawks are a professional football team. The Atlanta Falcons figured out how to get 500 yards of offense and still suck so badly. It's everything I expected the game to be. I'm honestly surprised that the Falcons were able to get the end zone a couple of times because they are just so bad in the red zone. It's uncanny how terrible they are as a football team on the offensive end when this field shrinks. It's a mental click in Matt Ryan's head or their offensive play caller. I don't want to make accusations, but they can't do it. And their defense is still terrible. So there's that.
I mean, their offensive coordinator, I'm going to fact check myself right here. I believe it's Dirk Cotter still, if I'm not mistaken, who was the head coach with Jameis Winston before his final year. I'm going to fact check myself real quick. Yeah, Dirk Cotter is still their offensive coordinator. So to me, that's still
he didn't coach 30 for 30. He coached the year prior.
Yeah, it was. So last year was Bruce Arians, and then I thought the year before because he got hired by the Falcons last year. So he was basically the guy with Jameis before Arians came in and then was like, no, you're done. Not our quarterback anymore. But the overreaction here, Dave, and I feel like I know where you're going to go with this. Everyone's saying like this Seahawks team will go as far as Russell Wilson is going to take them. Is that all the way to the number 1 seed? Will Russell Wilson lead the Seahawks team to be the best team in the conference?
I mean, I think they are the best team in Russell Wilson's excellent. They've improved on offense. They've improved on defense. Like, this was a very good team last year. They're an even better team this year. You should be afraid of this team. DK Metcalf can run routes now. How afraid are you? Like, he's a freak of nature who people were ripping on because combine. LOL. Greg Olsen, big old man, still plays football okay. I'm happy for him. That's really where I'm at there.
Yeah, I mean, the good, like, now after week 1, I know week 1 is kind of like just because you lose week 1 doesn't mean you're going to miss the playoffs. Just because you win week 1 doesn't mean you're winning the Super Bowl. But, like, I look at their next matchups, and it's like week 2 against New England. I can't wait to see that one because of how Cam performed. I think that's going to be a better game than we expected. But, like, after that, Dallas pretty much shit the bed. I think the Seahawks can beat Dallas.
Mike McCarthy down.
Miami, yes, it's in Miami, but like if you couldn't beat the Patriots with their how many people are not on their defense, good luck against Seattle. The Vikings, unless we get shit figured out by the 11th of October, we're not going to win that game in Seattle. And then the next game that I think someone may have a chance, but still the Seahawks win is at Arizona on the 25th of October, to where like this team, I had
as high as you should have been on.
No, I wasn't like I had them as a double win team, but you're right. I was not. It was a doubting double win,
and that's with
double-digit
their run
win.
game this week was questionable at best. You know, they did not really get it going at the level they wanted to. So again, they can get better. Is the scary thing. I just feel for Julio Jones, man. The man gets 1 billion yards a game. Can't get a touchdown. Like
Calvin Ridley gets both of them.
Isn't that exactly what happened last year? Was like Ridley out touchdowned him by like 3-1.
Let's see. Ridley had last year. How many touchdowns did Ridley have? Stats. Ridley had 7 touchdowns last year. 10 touchdowns in 2018. Julio had 7-10. Julio had 6-8.
Okay, so not as bad as the team, but
still 7-6 got more for Ridley. 10-8 got more for Ridley. Like I don't know if that's just something like in the red zone, teams are just gonna naturally go double team Julio.
I mean, it does seem that
like that he's your best wide receiver. That would make sense. Next game though, Dave, Jets and Bills. This one's a spicy one for me because I think it's hotter. It doesn't seem like an overreaction, but I think it should happen. Jets fire Adam Gase mid-season.
Yeah, that's correct. It almost happened last year. I'm pretty sure the whole team just straight up hates him. Players don't seem to like playing for him. And the truest thing is everybody who's left has gotten better. Literally everyone who they've let go of or traded away is a better player, not on the Jets.
Jamison Crowder had a good week this week. Robbie Anderson had a good
Crowder's
week
on the team still.
Oh, I thought he was still on the. I keep forgetting he's not on the Redskins anymore. That's a me thing.
The Washington football team.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Washington football team.
The safety who's with the Seahawks now, Robbie Anderson,
Jamal Adams.
Thank you. It seems like he is so beyond outcoached that it's like he should be over there with crayons. He really just doesn't deserve to have a job being in charge of a football team and leading men. You know, that's how I think how a lot of New York feels. And I'm pretty sure they felt it at the end of last year. Yeah. I heard Mike this morning talk about it on Get Up, and he was passionate on the topic. So,
because he's a Jet fan.
He's a through and through Jet fan. And he's like, you're wasting another season because what are they going to do? They're going to go out there. Even if they fire him mid-year, they had threatened to last year, I think after week 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? Like, who are they going to go out and get right now? Like, it's mid-season. So
yeah,
he's extremely disappointed. I understand that. Bad head coaches will do that to you, and it just seems like the team's been run into the ground. I don't know if the new plan is if you look this bad, if you're just going to ride it out for Trevor Lawrence or what, but it'll be interesting.
I mean, the writing out for Trevor Lawrence, I don't think it's Sam Darnold's fault. That's why it's like I don't feel like, obviously if you're number one, if you're going to take that pick, you take Trevor Lawrence. But Sam Darnold isn't bad. It's Adam Gase because like I look at the run game.
He did play poorly though. I will say he played poorly yesterday.
He did play poorly, but like you look at Le'Veon and Frank Gore, they got 12 combined carries for 38 yards. Like,
Le'Veon's hurt.
What?
Le'Veon's hurt.
Yeah, well, I mean, still, like Frank Gore got only 6 carries for your running back. Like,
I mean, they were getting shellacked.
To me, it's like, but it goes down to that
if you
thing
look at the running game going early.
Well, and that's the thing of like, are they going to be able to get the running game early, or is it this whole year just going to be, hey, we're going to lean on Sam Darnold? Because like on the Bills side, the Bills weren't perfect. Like, the Bills had it to where, like, if you look at Josh Allen's stats, you think, like, oh, Josh Allen had a good game. But, like, we were expecting – this was a big game of, all right, what do we expect from Diggs? Diggs kind of had, stat-wise, a mediocre – like, it wasn't a bad game, but it was kind of like a mediocre game. 8 for 86, no touchdown. You even look at Brown, 6 for 70. He got the touchdown. To where, like, this Bills team, I feel like – it's going to be, I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be, no one's going to be really like, hey, we're going to go to, Josh Allen's going to Diggs every single time, and then he's going to check off of them. Like, Josh Allen's just going to look at it and go, hey, I've got 3 great, like, 3 good wide receivers. Because, like, Cole Beasley and Brown, I wouldn't say are great. Diggs, I would say, is great. To where it's like, hey, if any of those 3 are open, they're getting the fucking ball. And
this has never been a one wide receiver offense. It's definitely just Diggs is brought in there to do one thing and one thing only, and that's catch the deep ball. Yeah. And that's great. You know, if he can do that, awesome. If not, he's a great distraction out there pulling safeties. So
the next game, though, Dave, Packers-Vikings, I kind of gave my thoughts on Wet Boys where this one was pretty much over early in the game, although the Vikings got some cheap points later on. The overreaction from this that I think is true, I think will happen. I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to play very well this year. I thought this in the preseason. Will Aaron Rodgers win the MVP out of spite? No,
because it's going to Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is an excellent player. I mean, he'll be top 5 in voting. But I think Russell Wilson's more impressive. I think he does more. Rodgers, though, I mean, like, there's just something magical. And as a Bears fan, the hatred in my heart for this man cannot go deep enough.
The hatred, you should say hatred in your heart for that franchise. To have Brett Favre through our childhood, who Brett Favre was great, although doesn't have, like, we're talking the championship argument, might have, like, deserved
football's
more
not the same.
For the talent that he was at. And you're right, football's not the same.
You can't carry a team the same way that you can in basketball.
And then they go from basically Favre right to Aaron Rodgers.
Who also only has 1 championship in a very similar fashion. A lot of people have made that comparison. And then, you know what? If Aaron Rodgers ends his career with the 1 championship, same thing. You got to blame the franchise. You got to blame the child. But yeah, no, he's played excellently. And again, I'm thrilled that he dumpstered your team. I told you they were going to do it, and they did it. So it's great when I'm right. Aaron Jones looked pretty good out there. He broke off one run, but nothing really special about it. I don't know. This offense just seems to click. I mean, Rodgers just slings it, man. Like he rolled out, he hits passes with literally like flick of wrist, has like my full arm strength. I don't understand how he spins it so well, but that's why he's making the millions and millions of dollars. So yeah, credit to him. I mean, and again, these no-name wide receivers and Marquise Valdez-Scantling and Lazard. I think both those guys, like you said, if Rodgers keeps playing like this, those guys are just going to have career years. It's going to be excellent for them.
Well, and the thing that people kind of freaked out about was not so much on the second name I'm going to mention, but especially the first one. Oh my God, Randall Cobb is now in Houston. Geronimo Allison, who Rodgers went to a lot last year out of Illinois. Respect.
Yep.
Who now is with the Detroit Lions, I want to say. A lot of people were like, okay, they lost two of their top pass catchers. Devonta Adams is still there, but can these other guys step up? And like Aaron Rodgers is proving what we've always known about Aaron Rodgers, where it's kind of like hey, he's just going to throw it to whoever's open. All you got to do is catch it.
Could you imagine if they had gone out and got DeAndre Hopkins?
Jesus Christ.
If you had DeAndre Hopkins and Devonta Adams out there together?
Yeah, they'd be dirty. Dave.
Aaron Rodgers is throwing for 500 yards a game.
Yeah, they'd be
absolutely
it's not even
dirty.
fair. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like this is what he can do with guys who are not top end talents outside of Devonta Adams, who is.
Yeah.
If they got another top end wide receiver, say in the first round of the fucking draft or the second round of the draft, if they'd gone and got somebody who could actually help this football team
a Jordan Love
instead of watching from the bench, I think this team could be so much scarier.
Yeah.
What? This is your fate, Packers fans.
I mean, what? Looking back at the 2020 draft, because like CeeDee Lamb was taken by then. Wasn't Jalen Reagor still on the board at that point, or was he taken? Let's see.
Yeah, I do not remember that.
I'm gonna pull it up. I remember watching it with fucking Goodell and his M&Ms.
Eminem Goodell, yeah. I remember watching the fucking draft was great, but
let's see. Jordan Love, because they traded up for him. Yeah, okay. Reagor was taken at 21. Brandon Ayuk was taken at 26, which was right before that. Wide receivers taken after T. Higgins, who was with the Bengals. Laviska Shenault with the Jaguars. KJ Hamler, Chase Claypool. This is like getting out of those top guys. Van Jefferson. But yeah, could have gotten T. Higgins or even Shenault. Could have gotten either of those guys, but
no. Big boy, great fucking receiver. I love him. Oh, there's a fucking fly in my room.
Is there? I see it. I saw it, Dave. I saw it. Did you get it?
I think I got it.
Did you get it? It looked like a little like gnat kind of.
The gnat motherfucker. Yeah.
I fucking hate those.
I do too.
Yeah, it's like Aaron Rodgers. I feel like this year it's going to say, "Oh, you drafted my next guy." No,
drafted a backup running back and a backup quarterback. What the shit? They did get a third round, I think, is tight end, which he did see a couple snaps. So like at least somebody from their first three fucking picks went. But yeah, no, Philly took him at 21. I think you talking about Reagor.
Yep, Reagor. Reagor took him at 21.
So yeah, it's incredibly frustrating because Green Bay could be so much scarier, and instead they're like, we're in a long-term plan this year.
Yeah.
Why? Aaron Rodgers could play till he's 40, 41, 42. Look at what Drew Brees is doing. Look at what Tom Brady. Well, don't look at Tom Brady. Look at what Drew Brees is doing over there, and understand that Aaron Rodgers is a better athlete than that, with better arm talent than him. Yeah. Like, why are you fucking hitting rebuild right now? You should be going for the pinnacle.
No, and I agree, and that's why I think going back to it, I know you're high on the Seahawks, you're going Russell Wilson. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be our MVP this year. Like, this is things to come. We saw it week one. We're going to see it all week long. But, Dave, from one quarterback who showed up to the next one, Dolphins Patriots didn't go exactly as you would have thought this weekend. Here's the overreaction. Cam Newton is going to lead the Patriots to a division title. They won't miss a beat like we thought they would.
This is a close one because I did not have them pegged to win the division. I think that they were
Neither of us did.
7-9 season. I think was where I was 6-10 maybe. So I didn't have them pegged to be a division winner. I don't think I do. There's still so many holes in that team. Their offense is extremely limited, and as much as I love Cam Newton being able to go out there and run it for 80 yards and pass it or whatever, like if he gets hit that many times a game, I'm no way are you going to have him get hit that many times a game. He just doesn't have offensive talent around him. Yeah. Like they just don't have wide receivers. They drafted 2 tight ends who I think did not see much time. I just did not see enough out of them to be confident in them winning out over another team in their division who happens to be better than them.
Yeah, and for me, I'm stat checking us. You had the Patriots at 8-8.
Oh, wow, that's better than I thought.
Third in the division though, because you had the Dolphins at second, 9-7.
Yeah, I'm insane on that one after watching game 1.
And then
I was hoping for Tua sooner, but yeah.
And then I had the Patriots even lower than you. I had them 7-9. So Cam kind of saying like, "Hey, both of you get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about." But like,
week 1, go suck it.
For me, I kind of feel like the division title might be in about a week or two. Yep. Maybe we talk about that. Mainly because of like what we saw of the Bills too. Like the Bills won over the Jets, but it wasn't like a demanding circle the wagons like the Buffalo Bills type of win. It was just like
pretty good.
It was a win. It was, like you said, a pretty good win, not a dominant win. Whereas with the Patriots, the next few games are going to be telling. At Seattle will be telling. I know 12th man not going to be there, but still, you're traveling to Seattle. The Raiders should be a winnable game. They got lucky against the Panthers. We'll get to that.
Or did they?
Chiefs and Arrowhead will be tough. Denver were
tough.
What? You don't think the Chiefs and Arrowhead will be tough?
I don't think it's going to be close.
Oh, okay. You think I'm being too nice, is what you're saying. So, like, after 4 weeks, let's get a gauge.
Yeah, I agree.
On these
if
Patriots.
They're looking 2-2, then we'll see. That's right on pace for my 8-8.
Yeah, like I'm happy to see Cam did well though.
Oh, same here. Healthy Cam Newton, he was styling, he was popping off. I mean, you don't get happier than watching Cam Newton play football.
And I absolutely loved how one of the tweets I saw from Bears Twitter was someone posted a picture of Cam Newton in like his yellow outfit that he had for pregame walking into the stadium, and it said, "If you did not want this, you are a part of the problem." But yet again, this was when Mitch was sucking, Dave. This wasn't when Mitch won you the game late in the fourth quarter.
I don't know. I don't know if Cam could have made that throw to Miller. I'll be honest. I don't think he could have.
Yeah.
I think that throw to Anthony Miller was such a dime. I don't think he could have thrown that.
Well, moving on, Eagles, Washington. We could have gone 2 ways here. We could have gone Eagles are trash. They're too injured. Not going to make the playoffs this year because both you and I had them winning the division. I believe. I know I did. The other way we can look at it is that fuck it. Cowboys didn't look good. Eagles didn't look good. Giants we'll see tonight against the Steelers. Washington winning the division. Which way do you want to take this? Like, should we go more of to the overreaction about the Eagles or about the Washington football team?
I'm a negative Nancy here, man. This Eagles team, Carson Wentz, what are you doing? What in your mind constitutes a good play when you take the snap and you're like, I'm going to hold on to this fucking ball until I hit the ground. Like, he doesn't understand how to throw the ball away. I don't know. I know his line isn't great, and I want to give all the credit in the world to the Washington football team's pass rush. Chase Young is a freak of nature out there. That defense looks like they're monsters. They're flying everywhere. Aggressive fronts. Ron Rivera, all the credit in the world. They've done a hell of a job getting that team going with everything in the world going around around that Washington team already happening. Like the team did phenomenally, and I want to give them that credit. But this Philadelphia team is in turmoil. They've already got their favorite pass catcher of last year in Zach Ertz in a contract dispute, and there's like, oh, you're going to complain about your contract? Oh, Dallas Goedert.
I mean, Dallas Goedert looked pretty good, Dave. Like
Dallas Goedert's just going to get, eight catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. Zach Ertz, how much did you want again? Not feeling that right now. All of a sudden, you're not the best tight end in town anymore, maybe. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't.
That's like 24 fantasy points at least for Goddard.
Oh, it's insane. Like, he was the go-to guy, and this was a statement.
Yeah.
It was a statement. They literally went out and tried to prove to Zach Ertz that he's not the guy on the team, and they don't need to pay him if they don't want to. Like, it was ridiculous to me. And again, all the blame falls to Carson Wentz on this one. Like, he doesn't get rid of the ball. That's his biggest hit.
I'm going to ask you this question about the Carson Wentz thing. Does that mainly stem from because if you think of Carson early on in his career, you think of Carson coming out of college. Carson was a guy, it's not there, I'm not going to be afraid to use my legs. To where now, after the injuries that he's had, does he have too many people in his head basically saying I'm saying coaches like, don't run. I know that's your reaction. Don't run. Stay in the pocket. Look for somebody. And that's just not Carson. Like, it's taking him out of who he is as a player. Like, could it be that, or it's just a fact of he just stays there too long and doesn't throw it away?
I mean, it seems like a mental note to not throw it away. I don't know if to me, some of those didn't look like extended plays. That looked like he just got caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to force things to happen. It's like, look, I get it. Your O-line's not great. You try to throw the ball 42 times, which is a lot still. But a lot of that was desperation. And like with the heat that Washington was coming with, they've got to rely on some different things. You got to set up some screens. You got to be able to throw some checkdowns. Like, you got to move the ball up the field, and they were not getting rid of it quick enough. So I'm just concerned for this Philadelphia team. I think Washington they looked great today. I don't think they're going to be competing for that top spot, though.
I mean, for me, I'm with you. Overreaction that Washington contends for the top spot. But this was I'm kind of looking at this like I'm not surprised, because I expected Washington. I had them split against everyone in the division, taking the home games. They took the one in Washington. Like, you look at their next two, this could be a team that people kind of talk about, like, ooh, can they do something special? Because against Arizona could be a winnable game. Not going to say for sure win, but could be winnable. Arizona looked good. We're going to get to them. Cleveland, definitely a winnable game, especially if Baker Mayfield is starting that game in Cleveland. Their first test to me doesn't come until their fourth game when they're playing Buffalo and then the Rams in Washington. So, like, the Redskins, you got a game. In most people's mind, you might have stole one away. But we'll have to wait and see there. Raiders-Panthers, Dave. This was one where it was it was kind of hard to find an overreaction to this game because, like you said, it came down to one play. OC play caller Joe Brady, I want to say his name is, for the Carolina Panthers, decides let's go for it. And it's
and who do you go for it with? Do you go for it with the most dynamic offensive weapon we've seen in football in the last decade? No. You go for it with your fullback.
Old school football, man. Just old school football. Refrigerator Perry, put it right in there.
I get it.
He thought he had Mike Allstott in the backfield.
It just what? Why?
And to me, because it came down to one play, I wanted to skew more towards the Panthers, because this was one where the Panthers are a team. Many people not thinking they're going to be a good team. I looked it up today. In the preseason kind of polls, many mock drafts had them as a top 5 team in the draft, which is no bueno. I think 6-10 was like the most generous win-loss that people were giving them. My overreaction, Dave, is the Panthers will finish 500 this year. And some people may say that's not really an overreaction, but for this Panthers team, that might be a huge win, is if Teddy Bridgewater and this Panthers team go to 8-8 and are maybe not the last team in the division.
That's 8-8's high praise for the team.
Falcons could be last after game 1. Who knows?
Oh, you went from Falcons Super Bowl to Falcons in last place, eh?
Falcons are going to be fine. Don't worry.
No, Christian McCaffrey is great. Teddy Bridgewater did not make mistakes, which is exactly what you want out of him. I think that he looked in pretty good form, better than I expected him to. Robbie Anderson, again, better than I expected to. Maybe it was just the doubt coming out of him as a Jets player. So they're not as bad as I thought they were, but they're also not world beaters. I mean, I do gotta give some credit to the LV Raiders. It's still weird.
Sounds
to say
weird to say. You almost said L. Like when you were saying L,
LA.
I'm like, he's gonna go A. He wants to go
LA
A.
Raiders. Go back.
3 LA teams.
Josh Jacobs. You were kind of picking on the boy. You're like, can he be the guy? And I was like, he was pretty good last year. You're like, yeah, but is he the guy? And I'm like,
fucking proved it.
Well, he just dad-dicked Carolina Panthers
3
yesterday.
touchdowns, almost 100 yards.
Yeah, so I kind of think he proved a point there. It's a win-win trade. We got Khalil Mack. They got Josh Jacobs. I'll take it.
He did better than Christian McCaffrey, but yes, he had 2 more carries.
He had a couple more carries, and he had, I think, another catch. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Josh Jacobs is more of an offensive weapon than the highest-paid running back in football, right? So maybe something's wrong with their play calling there. You think? So, no, I think Carolina's got some shit to figure out. Happily surprised by the Raiders. Ruggs looked good.
Yeah, I mean...
Nelson Aguilar caught a pass.
I know, right? He caught the game.
The baby drop, and that came up again, and this time he got it.
Like I saw that headline. I was like, holy shit! Aguilar caught a fucking pass. But like the Raiders though, moving forward, just to next week is the only one I'll say they're gonna have it. Like they go from probably could have lost that game to holy shit, we got to play the Saints now in week 2. Which the Saints looked good, whereas Carolina goes, all right, what kind of Bucs team are we going to see? Are we going to see a pissed off Bucs team because they didn't look good week 1, or are we going to see a Bucs team that still hasn't figured out what they really want to be? And Dave, the next 2 games, I'll say these are probably the juiciest overreactions. Maybe the next 3, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
The first one, Dave, Colts, Jaguars, and I'll just get to it. I'll just lay it out there, let it simmer. Minshew Mania will lead the Jaguars to the playoffs.
No.
Not a chance? After beating the Colts, who many people, especially Indy, thought were going to be a much better football team this year. I know they lose Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
Losing Marlon Mack hurts. But Minshew went out there and was like, hey, I might not throw for a bunch of yards, but I'm going to just throw for 3 touchdowns and win the game. No big deal.
I mean,
MVD.
I think I heard it. One of the coaches talk about, if you're going to play Tampa 2, expect to get eaten up in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, as a Bears fan, I can say that's exactly how we got murdered. You just kill us over the middle. And that's exactly what they did. They took everything they gave him. I don't think he had to make a hard pass that whole game. It was very, very easy to him. It was very simple. Nothing was really crazy as far as their defense was set. A little disappointed with what happened there on the Colts side because I thought they started off pretty good. And then Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers after all. He's going to make some throws that you don't agree with. But he'll come back and he'll throw it again. And you don't agree with it still. It was just Rivers turnovers costing them the game kind of seems about right. Should have seen that coming.
Did some of us, especially me, maybe overhype the Colts? Is that what we're thinking after week 1?
When I agreed with you on them, I knew something was wrong.
You're like, I'm agreeing with Ricky.
When I was as high on the Colts as you were, I was like, something's probably not right here. Maybe we should take a step back and evaluate what's going on in these decisions. But Minshew Mania, man, I don't even know what to say. Like, I thought they were going for fucking.
I was so happy.
Trevor Lawrence, and this man is about to get traded off the fucking Jaguars for being too damn good. That's where we're at. They're gonna find a way to get rid of him next.
I saw Bears Twitter before the 4th quarter going, "We traded for Foles. We should have traded for Minshew. I should have gave up a 4th for Minshew."
Yeah,
but then obviously the 4th happened. But when it comes,
I would still consider that deal.
When it comes to the Jaguars. Yet again, overreaction. I don't think they make the playoffs. I think they stole one against the Colts.
I agree.
For the Colts, though, losing Marlon Mack is going to hurt. However, the good thing is I think this is just going to be better for Jonathan Taylor. We all thought
struggled mightily, though. Can we admit that? Like, I know we're all on the hype train for him, but
he struggled mightily. But I think this is going to be, I think overall going to be ending up being a good thing for Jonathan Taylor, because coming into this season, I think the mindset was we've got Marlon ahead of you, and there's kind of a mindset being a rookie and then being the number 2 back. Towards I'm going to get my carries.
Chubb.
But I've also got, kind of like Chubb last year, a little bit. But
every time he touched the ball, it was an explosive play. It wasn't a lot like that. Yeah. He literally was a rocket with that football.
But now with
he made the most out of those opportunities.
But now with this, I think it's going to force Jonathan Taylor to say, all right, I'm the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he can catch the ball. And that's the best thing about him is he is a weapon out of the backfield, split out wide. His running, I think that Colts O-line is pretty good still. And I was kind of surprised to find him not being able to find gaps. So I think that's the thing. Can he contribute to the offense? Absolutely. But, as far as finding his groove in that backfield, it might take a week or two. I think maybe he's a rhythm runner. He's used to the college where he was just feed the beast, He's going to get his touches. Now it's well, you get a touch here, you wait a couple downs. It might be the next series, you'll get another touch. So maybe he's a rhythm runner, and once they get him going, he'll be a weapon. But, yeah.
And the one thing I got to kind of pull up here really quick was with my Colts prediction, I had them – all right, I did have them split. So, for me, I thought the Colts were going to go on a tear to start the year and get at least 8 wins to start. But however, I did have them split against Jacksonville. The one later in the year, I had Jacksonville winning. So, for me, you can look at this 2 ways if you're a Colts fan. You can look at it as, okay, I expected Jaguars were going to play us tough one of the games. If we split with them, that's fine. Or you can look at it on the other side of, we just got a game stolen from us. If you were on the side of, there's no way the Colts lose both games to Jacksonville, first I'd say you're nuts because they usually play each other close. But they did then get one stolen from them potentially, because coming up, Minnesota, we'll see how Minnesota reacts to that Packer loss playing in Indy. But after that, Jets, not a good football team. The Bears, if Mitch is out there,
who knows?
If we see fourth quarter Mitch, different game. But if we see the Mitch that I think he is and that most people think he is, Colts should win that game. Brown should be a winnable game. The Bengals, I mean, that's going to be a tough one because we're going to have to see how Joe Burrow did not lose that game, or Joe Burrows did not lose that game. It was funny, JD in the Discord was great, we lost because our kicker injured himself on a kick and missed the kick.
Injured. That felt like saving face on a cramp, Oh no, my leg.
No,
I'm pretty sure it was
at least it wasn't
believable on my part.
At least it wasn't, what was it? Martin Dramatica was the one. Wasn't he the one that got injured celebrating?
Yeah, but he made the kick.
No, I know, but he got injured celebrating.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take a celebration after instead of a fake leg cramp after you fucking hit it sideways.
Good point. I just look at the Colts of how are you gonna? All right, this is the boxing kind of analogy of, you just got punched in the face. How do you react from it? Where do you come back?
I agree.
Week 2
reaction week. Yep.
Against the Vikings. Moving on, the next game, my document, Browns Ravens. It decided to reset. This one's another one, Dave, that I think is spicy. I'm going yes on this. Baker loses the job after week 2.
You're going to have to tell me how that works out.
What, how he loses the job after week 2?
Yeah, how is Case Keenum taking over the number 1 overall draft pick's job after 2 weeks?
So the way I'm looking at it is,
I know former number 1. It's been a
week 2, Thursday night game. Yes, shortened week, but they're going up against the Bengals and Joe Burrow. And I think that Joe Burrow is going to outplay Baker Mayfield. The Bengals will win. The Bengals will get Joe Burrow's first win. Joe Burrows will outplay Baker Mayfield to the point where the Browns will just say, fuck it, we're pulling the plug. Pulling the plug, Case Keenum's in, this is a team that is too talented to wait for you to get your head out of your ass. Like that's how I feel. I just watching week 1, watching Baker Mayfield struggle. Yes, I know it was Baltimore, and Baltimore's a good team, but you only put up 6 points with that talented roster. We keep talking about it on paper. They're a talented roster. This is something that I think Joe Burrows didn't look bad week 1. He's going to look good week 2, and he's going to end up beating Baker Mayfield and sending Baker to the pine. Case Keenum starts week 3 against Washington.
I would love to make a bet with you for much dollars, many dollars, all the dollars.
It's an overreaction. Like overreactions are,
and that's fine, but you're wrong. You should admit the fact that Baltimore is perhaps one of the most dominant overall teams is in football right now.
Yes, that's what I said. I know it's Baltimore, but like 6 points.
You can't just
only
they're
6,
literally the most dominant team in football right now.
Only 6 points. There's a difference between, that team is just good, and oh my God, they look so bad. This is something where I think the Browns need to realize or need to come to the realization that Baker's not the guy. I don't care that you drafted him number 1. We talked coming into the year about how this was going to be an important year for Baker. We talked about how he wants to take the right steps. Yes, the Ravens are a good team.
So when the Texans get dumpstered by the Ravens next week, and then are you going to feel the same way? That the Ravens are just a pretty good team?
No, I wouldn't feel that way, because the Texans are not the Texans. We don't look at the Texans like we look at the Browns. We look at the Browns where it's
who literally was half a game away from being in the Super Bowl.
Yes, but this year
the Browns are a team that has laughably been awful at football for the last decade. Nope, 2 decades.
But I'm saying, but
3 decades.
But what I'm saying is, we looked at the Texans this offseason they've lost DeAndre Hopkins even after the first game of the year. We're looking at this Texan team like maybe they don't have the pieces to go as far as they did the year before. We've been looking at the Browns, and take the history, throw it out the window with the Browns, because team on paper. Doesn't
matter for this team. They've underperformed for the last 3 decades,
and that's what I'm saying.
You can't take away from that. You have to say they've underperformed every single year for 3 decades. Literally, their best player was Peyton Hillis,
and that is why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying after week 2, after losing to a rookie, Dave, that the Browns will say something needs to change. We're gonna put the veteran quarterback in over the first round pick. It's an overreaction.
Can Case Keenum win them a Super Bowl?
No, but I think he can do better than Baker Mayfield.
Why play him?
Because he'll win more games than Baker.
Why not just suck and go get a top quarterback? Because clearly you need one.
Not everyone wants to tank.
But I mean, if your quarterback is so terrible that you'd rather play Case Keenum, why wouldn't you go get a top quarterback in the NFL?
You know what? Fuck it. In the right situation, yes, Case could win a Super Bowl, because for Case to win a Super Bowl, it might put a little bit more pressure on that defense. But if that defense steps up, if the offense starts playing together,
Did you watch the same defense I did?
No, I'm not saying that they played
Jackson made them look like they were straight out of NCAA football 14.
Yet again, that's the other side of you came in and said the Ravens are a good team. That is a part of the equation.
Maybe the 3rd or 4th best team in the NFL.
Yes.
Actually, they might be the first team in the NFL. It's Chiefs, Ravens, Seahawks.
That is a part of the equation. However, I'm looking at this after week 1, and this is, again, what goes into an overreaction is sometimes you throw logic out the window. I look at the frustrations that the Browns have had.
Yep.
I look at they have all the talent in the world, and they can't put it together. I think they do. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. They've got Landry and OBJ on the outside. They've got a defense that is led by Myles Garrett on that team. This is a team that has talent. And for the last few years, it's man, when's Baker going to get it together? Coming into this season, when is Baker going to get it together?
3 different years, I believe. 4 years now.
It's kind of like what I saw Colin Cowherd tweet out or put on Instagram today, where it's you could change coaches all you want. Same old Baker. same old Baker. Like, Baker is not going to change. It's not like you're going to get a new coach and that's who he's going to be. If he loses to Joe Burrows, can Baker put in Case Keenum if you want to win football games? If you don't want to win football games, keep Baker in the whole year.
I think counter argument would be Alex Smith. You get a quarterback who does not have a chance to play in the same system for years. I'm talking the first 4 years of Alex Smith's quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Were done with different coaches and different coordinators. He didn't have the same any given year, and it took him a while to find his footing. And when he did, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He was elite, actually. And I think that's the thing is like, I think you devalue or undervalue what consistency comes from the coaching staff, the quarterback's coach, the play caller, and the offensive scheme. And I think that those things weigh so heavily. And because there's no consistency there and because there were no preseason games, I don't think they can move away from Baker Mayfield within 2 weeks of the start of the game. I think that's outrageous, Bush League, and frankly, a lot of words that I can't say on it.
like I said before, too, this is the type of this was the juiciest one I knew coming in. Overreactions are supposed to be.
It's
just
not because I see 1-2 down from this. And that one just makes you want to drop channel. Like, I'm just done
really?
talking.
Like, I don't know. Really? Maybe.
We'll get to it, yeah.
The next one, though, Chargers-Bengals. This one kind of leads in to what we were talking about. The overreaction here because of, like we said, the Ravens were a good team. Browns are a good team on paper. Is it an overreaction to say Joe Burrows will get his first win next week against the Browns?
No, I think that's totally valid. Unless the Chargers figure out that their offense should literally, I loved it. McAfee said it. They should just, every other throw should be to Austin Eckler. Give him the ball every other play, and you will be a better offense.
Just treat him like he's Christian McCaffrey almost.
Obviously not like the Christian McCaffrey of this year, but Christian McCaffrey of last year.
Yeah, I'm saying like how he should be used. Hey,
this guy gets it. Yeah, no, that's exactly how they need to do it. He's their best offensive weapon. They have a lot of good players. Mike Williams got throttled every time he caught that ball. Like you heard the smack of the pads. Yeah. He got wailed on out there. So like this is a Chargers team that's not very good, but they've got great pass rush. Or the Bengals' offensive line is terrible. So
JD even said if the Browns lose to the Bengals with that Bengals O-line, they need to call it a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like what we saw happen to Joe Burrow and that backfield just fighting for their life out there. Good luck. But at the same time, I think Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback. He's mobile enough, and I think he'll win next week. So
yeah. Moving on, Dave, we'll go through these a little bit quicker as we're...
Really? This is the one where you want to speed things up at? Because this is the one I think it's going to cause a fight.
What, this next one? Here, I'll ask you, Dave. I'll say what my overreaction was, what I put down, and I will ask you what you would put as an overreaction to this game. Because this was probably... There were two hard ones to come up with an overreaction for. This one, Raiders-Panthers. Those were the two that I was looking like Seahawks Falcons too. I was like, not a really overreaction from like if the Falcons would have won, it would have been easier to come up with an overreaction. But the overreaction from this one, do I believe it like I believe the Baker one? No. But yet again, overreactions, some of them are supposed to be like, huh? Because they're overreacting to a game. The overreaction we have is the Bucs will miss the playoffs. What did you see from Buccaneers Saints? And if you want to give a different overreaction, what would you say would be an overreaction to this game?
I mean, I think you got to jump on the Max Kellerman train. You know, it's not quite a cliff; it's a ravine. His dumb smiling face this morning on ESPN, like. When Molly was talking about it, he was just giddy. He's just got the smile and a little bit of bounce to his shoulder. He's like, feeling it. I'm feeling it. We're talking shit about Tom Brady time. He's only been calling for it for 4 years. And, you know, again, the broken clock is right twice a day or whatever. So eventually he's going to be right. Tom Brady is declining. It is clear that new system, new players, and a head coach who will publicly throw you under a bus to the media. Like, Let's go.
How happy do you think Bill Belichick was last night?
Oh,
Patriots won, Bucs lost.
I bet you he cracked a smile. I bet you that man cracked a smile.
But only at home. Only at home to his dog and his family. He was just like, He woke up in the morning and he's like doing this, and his wife like, "Oh, Bill, what's wrong?" I haven't used these muscles in a while. Now you're just smiling.
I mean, it's bizarre, but yeah, I mean, Brady just looked uncomfortable and lost at times, which are things you don't say about Tom Brady. New offense, new system, and clearly wasn't on the same page.
Then I will ask this, because obviously,
I mean, you might as well just say Tom Brady retires.
Based off of your reaction to the overreaction, I will ask you this.
Yeah.
Based off of what you saw game 1 from the Bucs, if you had to say that they will have less wins than what everyone thought, how many less wins? Like, instead of like an 11-win team, is this like a 9-win team? Is there a chance that they're
a 9-win team? They might be a 10-win team, but like, it's going to take them time. Tom Brady and his illegal off-camp workouts, like, weren't exactly...
Mevins wasn't even full. Like, he was active, but he probably, like, he was out there as a decoy.
Yeah,
I took the bait. I took the bait as a fantasy owner.
Yep, absolutely wrong to do that.
I was totally wrong to do that.
But yeah, no, I just don't. I don't see them being that bad. It was a terrible game against a really good defense.
Yeah.
Both things happened on the same day, which made it even worse, unfortunately, for Tom Brady. So he is going to have to get his shit together because their schedule isn't super easy this year. So, Gronk lost a step. That's sure as shit true.
I mean, at the same time, though, he was not coming in. We knew he wasn't in football shape. Like, everyone wanted to talk him up because he's Gronk, but like he came in skinny Gronk, and people were like, "All right,
he can still block decent, but he was not running routes great." OJ Howard, though, excellent out there.
I mean, and you talk about the
Scotty Miller in the slot.
Scotty Miller in the slot during fantasy, but you mentioned the schedule: Carolina, Denver, Chargers, Bears, and then Packers are the next.
Those all look like toss-ups.
We got 2 more games left, Dave. The next one you're going to love to talk about. Alexi, watching, Cardinals fan, is going to love to talk about this. Cardinals-Niners. The overreaction is Kyler Murray leads the Cardinals to the playoffs this year. Kind of in the same vein as the Minshew overreaction.
Yeah, I could kind of see this one. Because I told you, the Niners should win this one. But the Cardinals are fucking wild cards. Like, I told you. I warned you on Friday. I try to let everybody know that I'm like, you cannot count this team out because Kyler Murray is a special talent. The man runs and guns. He is so confident in his decision making. It's just very quick snap decisions. Whether he's pulling it down, design runs, or just decide on the fly where the ball's going. And D-Hop out there, I mean, the man was a vacuum. Just anything near him was just left, right, down, low. It didn't matter. He was everywhere.
I love how one of the articles I saw for like overreactions, it said the Cardinal Texans trade is as bad as we thought it was.
I disagree. David Johnson played well.
David Johnson played well, but like the only thing that DeAndre Hopkins didn't do was score a touchdown. Like that's the only thing he didn't do, rather than getting 14 catches for 150 yards.
Right,
like, get him a touchdown, and it's a perfect game.
Nothing in that game made a difference in my mind about that value. Like, it's a bad trade, yes, but like people, I think, were writing David Johnson off as a lost cause who's never going to play football again. Like Emmitt Smith being sent out to Arizona at the end of his career. He's not.
It also comes down to if D-Hop was on Houston for Thursday's game, do they win that game? Like that's what you got. That's what you got to put it to. Of like, I think that if David Johnson played this Cardinals game, Cardinals don't win, and if D-Hop plays on the Texans don't win. So like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it got worse.
Yeah,
I think the Cardinals got better.
Yeah,
I think the Texans stayed low.
I'm telling you, the Cardinals. I might be buying the stock after week
Dude,
one.
they're a fun team to watch,
like,
right?
Kyler Murray, I already knew he was fun to watch, but like now that he's got a weapon to throw, like a true number one.
Old
I know
man
Larry Fitzgerald is good, top 5
Third
wide
best
receiver in fantasy, but I'm just gonna get a shirt that's just Larry Fitzgerald that says top 5 wide receiver, top 5 fantasy wide receiver.
Absolutely.
But if this team wins a couple more, I might have to jump on the bandwagon, Dave. So save me a seat. Don't give me one of those cold ones.
Watching Raheem Mostert be the fastest runner for a touchdown in the NFL.
I should have played him in fantasy. He had like 20-some points.
They are that 49ers team has to open up things a little bit. I got to give the Cardinals credit for shutting down Kittle. He could have had a much better day had they not done such a good job covering him. They limited him in a lot of situations. They doubled him, blanketed him.
Yeah.
So credit to them for playing that team right. But yeah, that 49ers, a little disappointed. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo's got to do a little more out there. Maybe they can't count on the run game so much.
And Dave, the last game, the Sunday capper, Cowboys-Rams. Here's the overreaction.
Woo!
Cowboys finish under 500. And mainly because like I was watching some of that game and I was thinking, wow, this Rams team is looking good. But I didn't want to go on the side of like the Rams are going to be back to Super Bowl level because I didn't really get that. I was just thinking like, this could be a Rams team that is competing for a playoff spot and then potentially for some playoff wins. But the Cowboys, this is a team I know they lost Van Der Esch to an injury. He's going to be out with a broken collarbone for about 6 to 8 weeks. Is this Cowboys team going to be worse than what we thought? Are they going to finish below 500?
Nah, I mean, Mike McCarthy played to not lose, it felt like, not to win. I know that's so cliche to say out loud, and I hate myself going. As soon as I said it, I was like, why?
Played too conservatively.
Played conservatively, and I think their play calling could have taken some more risks. Honestly, that Amari Cooper bullshit call at the end of the game kind of fucked them. There was clearly Jalen Ramsey playing to the refs. They honestly could have won that game had he not flopped. So
of course, I had Jake Neverman going off on Twitter because you know no calls for PIs against the Rams. You know how much he loves those.
I mean, it was. Amari Cooper should have that touchdown. That should have won the Cowboys the game. So no, I'm not worried about this Cowboys team. I think they're still going to finish above 500. CeeDee Lamb looked good. Cooper looked good. Gallup looked okay. You know, like Zeke, honestly, just looked like Zeke. Like I think this offense still has all the right pieces in place. But maybe this is me saying, you know, Dak, your contract, you know, just saying, you know.
I think the biggest takeaway I'm taking out of this game is Malcolm Brown because coming in we talked about on Friday the committee for the Rams. Gurley's not there. They're going to lean on multiple guys, and it's like Cam Akers had 14 touches.
I had Cam Akers pegged, and he could not move the fucking ball.
But like Malcolm Brown, like getting 79 yards, 2 tutties. In that game, like he showed like, hey, there was a reason why I was playing well while Gurley was not being used. Whether it was injury, whether it was I still believe the Rams Gurley was healthy. They just wanted to go to Malcolm Brown. I believe that as a Gurley fantasy owner last year. And the year before, the Rams fucked me in that game against the Chiefs. They would have put Gurley back in. He would have won me that fantasy game. But yeah, Goff, like the very first, and I know the first series is of games, they're weird because a lot of teams have them scripted. Like this is what we're gonna do.
There's no preseason, so what we're gonna see out the gates is gonna be, like you said, heavily scripted, and it's gonna be very generic in my mind.
But like them scoring on that first drive, I was like, okay, they're setting the tone right away.
But Jared Goff,
what about Goff?
I mean, do you think he's good at football? Like, that's my question. I see this game, and I get that the Rams won, but, like, I look at Jared Goff, and I'm like, show me, like, you know how I said earlier, like, oh, he didn't, like, for Minshew against the Colts were playing Tampa 2. It was easy passes. I felt like Jared Goff didn't make an impressive throw all day.
So
he was just moving the strings a little bit here and there, but not enough to make a difference. But they did win. So
my opinion on Goff has been the same. I think he's just a notch better than a game manager. Like, he's not a game manager, but he's a notch above that, to where it's like, there may be times where he makes a really good throw to win a game, and puts the team on his back. But if Jared Goff is going to lead them to a Super Bowl, it's going to be because Malcolm Brown's doing his thing on the ground. The defense and Aaron Donald is just being an absolute fucking just watching him dismantle the Cowboys offensive line.
You can go 1-on-3 and still come out with your quarterback on his back.
Yeah.
I don't understand how someone, like, physically, how does that work? I don't get it, but he is impressive as all get out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like with the Cowboys though, the Van Der Esch thing, it's a big loss to that defense, a defense that especially brought on Everson Griffin this offseason from my Minnesota Vikings. I can't wait to see what they do in week 2. They're playing a Falcons team that also wants to look better after losing to Seattle. Both these teams, Dallas and Atlanta, losing to NFC West opponents. And week 2 should be a good one as the Monday night games are started, Dave. The first one started between Pittsburgh, New York. New York's up 3-0. Really quickly before we end the show, do you want to give a pick for your Monday night games? Steelers, Giants, and then Titans, Broncos?
Pittsburgh, Tennessee. I mean, I want Denver to win, but I got to go with Tennessee on this one. Pittsburgh, I think, will dumpster this team. I think that I like Daniel Jones. I like Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones out of spite for making you and Sean look like idiots on draft night. And Saquon's just a monster. But this Pittsburgh team is about to just become the guys. Yeah. But Deontay Johnson with an early fumble. What the shit was that? I mean, that's disappointing right out the gates. There was a punt return fumble.
And the lines are Pittsburgh is favorites by 6 points. I agree with you. I think the Steelers go ahead and win. And then for the Titans and Broncos, a little closer of a game. Titans are only 3-point favorites, Dave. The line is at 3 for that one. So I would take, if I'm betting, I'm taking Steelers to win more than 6. I'm taking the Titans to win more than 3. And that's just who we will go with. We'll talk a little bit about these games tomorrow and basketball.
Yeah, that punt. Yeah. They literally, New York punted it. Deontay Johnson muffed the punt at the 10, and the Giants couldn't get in. They literally, 1-yard line, incomplete pass, and then a field goal. So their best offensive play so far has been a punt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the miraculous punt pass. The punt pass, Dave. That's how you get all your yards. The punt pass.
That's something else.
But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live. Thank you guys for checking us out. Don't forget Discord. Link down below in the description or ! Discord in Twitch chat to join the Discord. Patreon.com/MVP vids to help support and interact with the shows. Get content early. Get into the watch-alongs, the voice channels for the Discord. It's a great time. And then remember, we're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids, but we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave and I will be back tomorrow. I am telling you right now, the start of the show, Dave, will be basketball. I know I wanted to talk about Rockets.
We got no basketball being played tonight, though.
Yeah, but that's why we're going to talk about like all the other stuff, like the fucking Rockets and D'Antoni and everything that was boiling over the weekend. We get to unpack all of that on a Tuesday because I knew that football was just going to take all of today up. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Games Live is going to be next. Dave and I will be back tomorrow. And as always, have a good day, everybody.